Okay, welcome to WPLDN October's WordPress London Meetup. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Diane, Leo, Paul, thank you very much for joining me on stage this evening.
Well, thank you everybody, and welcome, as they say these days.
Did they say that?
They do in America. Everywhere you go, it's welcome. It's like 3 W's. Stay up with it, Diane.
We need a did it. We got live first time, no problem.
We've got complaints. We've got complaints already, which is good. Where are the pizzas?
Yeah.
That's it.
I tell you, something's really got to me today. I really wanted to get on the train and go into London and be prepared and do our in-person events. I've really missed it today. It just hit me for some reason.
Is it because the nights are drawing in? I said usually at this time of year when the nights draw in, I start to feel all excited. But when the clocks went back, I was like, oh. and usually I'm like, oh, all the lights come on, so I'm wondering whether we're all having just a little bit of a dip. So, which is totally understandable, and we can get through this, and we can order pizza still, people.
It was either that, Diane, or he went to the fridge and realised he didn't have any beers.
I don't have any beers either. It's just I'm totally unprepared for tonight.
Well, speaking of tonight, we've got two fantastic speakers, which we'll go into a little bit more detail in a moment. But just wanted to very quickly mention and just say a thank you to Diane, Leo, Paul, and everybody else that's sitting behind the scenes that make up the team of volunteers that is Big Orange Heart. We are really incredibly grateful. If it wasn't for you as a team and the people behind the scenes, then we simply wouldn't be able to deliver these events. So thank you very much. As I've mentioned, my co-hosts this evening. I'm Dan Maybe. I'm the founder of Big Orange Heart. I have a digital agency as well. We do design and development, focusing within WordPress. Diane, do you want to give a quick intro to yourself?
Hello, I'm Diane Wallace, and I'm a freelance web developer specialising in custom WordPress plugins and themes.
Excellent. Leo, do you want to say a quick hello?
I'm Leo. I run a digital sports agency called Sotic, who delivers sites on WordPress for governing bodies and federations in the world of sports. Some big names.
Fantastic. And Paul, Mr. Smart.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, Paul Smart. I run an agency, Smart Digital, WordPress-Focused agency, and I'm also on the fundraising team for Big Orange Heart.
That you are, and for that I am incredibly grateful. And speaking of which, we need to say a big thank you to our sponsors that are enabling us to be able to deliver Big Orange Heart. But instead of listening to me drone on and look at a slide, you can listen to me drone on and look at an animated slide. Passionate about making the web a better place. Automatic.com. Your managed cloud hosting platform. Cloudways.com. Generate more leads for your digital agency. Funnelpacks.com. The WordPress multilingual plugin. Weglot.com. Tips, tricks and resources for people who use WordPress. WinningWP.com. The search engine optimization plugin for WordPress. Yoast.com. Look at that.
Seriously. That guy sounded quite professional, didn't he?
Please do help us support. Please do help us thank our sponsors. It really wouldn't be possible for us to be able to deliver Big Orange Heart without the companies, without Automatic, Cloudways, Funnelpacks, Weglot, Winning WP, and Yoast supporting us. If you hit that URL that's on screen right now, big.ht/thanks, that'll put together a tweet. The tweet has changed and will change each and every time, so you're not just simply spamming out the same thing every time. So please do help us to thank the sponsors that are enabling us to be able to continue to do this. Also want to say a big thank you to Blue37, Paul Smart and Sotic for donating time into the delivery of these events. So on to tonight. As I mentioned, we've got two speakers. Looking forward to hearing from both Mario and JJ. Mario is going to be asking us the question: does the perfect team exist? I think Diane, we just had a little bit of a spoiler there in the backstage, didn't we?
Yes, we did. but I'm keeping the answer to myself, so I don't spoil the ending for anybody else.
Excellent. And JJ is going to be looking into unusual ways, unique ways to use the block editor. We're getting a little bit technical in the second session this evening, so very much looking forward to that. But before we go into our speakers this evening, it's our community announcements. So it's an opportunity, if you're aware of anything that's going on in and around the community, maybe it's some events that are going on, let us know. If you're on live.bigorangeheart.org, do use the live chat over there. We will then be able to share that up on the screen here. So please let us know what's going on if you're aware of anything that needs to be shared amongst the community. So whilst we're waiting, have we got anything that's come in before we move on, actually?
I haven't seen anything yet. But no. We do. I'll let you know.
Excellent.
I have one when we get to the end of the other ones.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm having a few mouse issues tonight. So Leo, thank you very much, Leo, for picking up the baton and getting all the buttons pressed behind the scenes.
You can tell it's me pressing the buttons, can't you, Diane?
So much smoother. So much smoother. So I want to start off sharing the WordPress annual survey has now been released. So if you've not done it before, this is an opportunity to share your thoughts and feelings in relation to WordPress as a project. Andrea Middleton has posted out a post in relation to this, in which she says this survey helps those who build WordPress understand more about how the software is used and by whom. The survey also helps the leaders of the WordPress open source project learn more about the contributors' experience. So it's quite an in-depth. There's quite a lot of information that comes out of this. Not only have they released the survey, but also the results from 2019. There is a link on that post with the to the slides, which gives you all the data from last year's results, which is 164 pages long. So there's a lot of stats. So if stats are your thing, I'd highly recommend having a look for the 2020 WordPress annual survey. Just out of interest, have any of us had the opportunity to do that yet, or have we taken part in the past?
No, but I do it. I do it every year. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I think that it's good. I think it's good to get the feedback from the community. So do it because it is useful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree that there's a lot of times when the only way you can get counted to know that your opinions are in is to put them in. If you don't, then they're not known. That's right.
That's right. Totally. Graham, I see you've asked whether the URL for the survey is available. It is a massive long URL, so unfortunately, I don't have it to hand. But if you do a search for the 2020 WordPress annual survey, it will come up there in your results. I did want to share both the link for the survey and the results, but as I say, they're both great big long URLs, so they're not very screen friendly, but we will make sure they're tweeted and shared on social. On that, I just want to share this. This was just a little snapshot of the 164 odd pages of information that there is available. Interestingly, if you look at those numbers, the decline in the number of people that are actually responding to this survey from 2015, we had almost 46,000 people complete the survey. 2019, just over 6,000. So a really sizable drop in the number of people actually completing the survey. So I thought, we need to encourage this. We need to share this, and try and encourage others to partake, because it does help lead, guide the project. So I highly recommend taking a look.
Yeah, it is our community. So the more we get involved, the more we shape the community to be what we want it to be. So it is important stuff.
Absolutely. I thought it was interesting looking at the 2017 to 2019 figures. If you look at this particular question, the major groups between the 2017 and 2019, there's a 7% increase in individuals that are stating they're using WordPress for professional purposes, even though we've obviously had quite a considerable drop in the number of people completing the survey. So interesting to see how how businesses and how individuals are making use of the open source software. Okay, and speaking of shaping our community and helping our community move forward, WordPress Diversity Speaker Workshop is going to be online 17th to the 19th of November this year. So really interesting. This is going to be a 3-day event. Day one, so 3 separate workshops are being offered. Day one will be improving your proposal for your online WP talk. Day 2 is an intermediate online stage presence. Maybe I should probably go and join that one. And day 3 is storytelling for tech talks. So 3 really interesting subjects, and really interesting. They're incredibly relevant for right now. So over on the Make Slack, WordPress.org/Slack, if you're not part of that, Jill Binder has put out a call for volunteers, so individuals that can help support this event. So if that's you, head over to the community team channel over on the Make Slack. And you can get hopefully get involved in this. I think the timelines are quite tight on this now, so obviously it's not too far away for this event. So if you're interested in taking part, I highly recommend getting involved as sooner rather than later. Again, we do have a link for that specific event. I do happen to have that right here, so I'm just going to share that over in the live chat. So if you are in
live chat's easy for us to share you links because you can't click on the screen.
Absolutely.
I have had this comment many times. How do I click on it? I said, well, if you can click on your TV, good on you. But, it's hard work on a video screen.
It is.
The way to do it actually is to use QR codes on there, but then spend too long explaining how they work.
We're all dab hands at using QR codes now. It's been a QR code revival, hasn't it?
I assume what you're talking about is the lovely QR code. I've never seen as big a one as for the NHS app.
I think that we have to call it the Serco track and trace app because it's giving the NHS a bad name, and that's unfair. It's
joined up tech.
I want to make sure. So I've just shared this link in the chat. If you're on live.bigocharts.org, as I try to keep this lot on track.
Right, we're there. We're on.
If you're on live.bigocharts.org, then please do. If you have any questions throughout the event, please do use the live chat. We will be monitoring social as well, so please do get involved. This isn't a one-way thing. We want you, the community, to be part of this. So please help us to continue to grow as a community in this new way. And as such, we've got something we're very excited to be able to announce. We announced this actually just a few days ago. WordFest Live 2021. Really happy to be able to finally be able to talk about this. And we're going to jump straight into another video. So we all need to dust off our party pants and get ready for live WordFest Live. We're going to be going live for a 24-hour virtual festival of WordPress on the 22nd of January next year. So we've got a little bit of time. but tickets are now available. If you visit WordPress.live and grab your ticket, they are going incredibly fast. We have only had the registration open for less than a week, and the tickets are absolutely flying out the door. So please do, if you want to come and join us, this is going to be a 24-hour festival that is going to be traveling the globe. So we actually kick off at 10 a.m. AEDT in Oceania. Oceania, I can never pronounce this properly.
We had that discussion. We didn't
Yeah.
go to war with Oceania. We don't go to
We're going to be traveling the world as we go through this. The idea here is we will spend 6 hours in each of these regions. At 10:30 a.m. IST, we will be heading into Asia. At 11 a.m. UTC, we'll be heading over to EMEA. And at 12 p.m. EST, we're going to head over to the Americas. So we're going to spend 6 hours in each region, and we're going to be having sessions. We're going to be having speakers. We're going to be having live music. We're going to be having all sorts of stuff going on over this 24-hour period. And we would love for you to get involved. We have an open call for speakers right now. wordfest.live/call for speakers. That is going to close on the 18th of November. So we're looking for a really wide, diverse mix of speakers. We want to ensure that we've got individuals that are representing across each of those regions. So we want to see and hear from individuals from every corner of the globe. So please help us. We would really appreciate it if you could share this, get this message out there, and encourage as many as you can to sign up. We've got regular talks, we've got panels, we've got fireside chats, we've got the works, we got everything in there. So if any of you have the ability to share this, or if any of you have something that you want to share with the WordPress community, then we'd love to hear from you. This really is about a celebration of the WordPress community.
Yep, on the it'll be the longest, shortest day of the year, won't it, Dan?
I was going to say that I can see why everyone's drinking coffee in that video, because 24 hours.
I think the question's going to be, Diane, because we'll have different branding, different colors for different regions. How is Diane going to change color as we go through the days?
It'll have to be a very quick dye job, won't it? Between
as we go through the time.
Yeah.
I'll probably just put up pictures. I mean, I've got pink and blue and red, so kind of. So if any of those colours, that then I'm covered just with old pictures.
What's great is the diversity of people who are involved in WordPress. This is the opportunity to really showcase people to a global audience. And it doesn't mean to say that, your product may not be global, but what you're actually delivering and what people can see is going to be there. So please, 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 that if you never stepped outside of your own WordPress meetup in your country, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. This is the one of the really great things that has come out of really quite a challenging time is this internationalization of even the event that we're taking part in right now. We've got an international audience. We've got such a great way of increasing accessibility to these events and really encouraging diversity. We've got one of our speakers this evening. First time Mario has spoken on an international audience. So there's lots of really great opportunities that are coming out of this.
No worries about visas. Like anyone that's been involved in a WordCamp before knows the pain and horror of trying to.
Absolutely. So please, this of course needs to be supported. There is a financial toll to this, but not only will that, every penny that is actually being raised through WordFest is going to enable us to be able to develop within Big Orange Heart our dedicated support hub. Now, that dedicated support hub is a tool, a set of services that will be free and are free to the community to support the well-being and mental health of the remote working community. So we're delivering a free festival into the community that companies can come along and support, which ultimately then ends up benefiting our community by enabling us to be able to deliver free wellbeing and mental health support. So it's just a win-win-win as far as we can see. And please, if you are a company, if you're thinking of sponsoring, if you're thinking of getting involved, then hit that call for sponsors, which is open right now. We also have the option for a micro sponsor, which is $250, which you can buy right now on the site and get your brand exposed across this. It's a really exciting time. The registrations are absolutely piling in, so it's a great time to get your brand exposed across this.
I think the other thing that you're going to get if you register, an added bonus, is that once you register, you also get linked into the Slack channel. And for a number of people, this is an opportunity to join the Slack channel that we are all in. And please join, and it's going to extend your involvement in the whole process and the whole event for a lot longer.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. There are a lot of benefits towards across this, and if you hit the registration page, you need to head to wordfest.live/register. There are a couple of options on there, as Leo's just mentioned. You've got the option to join our Slack community, a really active community focused again across our wellbeing and mental health, but also many other things. There are a lot of channels in there with lots of discussions, lots of random stuff going on there and again. So again, it's a great place to be. You've got the option in there to make an optional $10 donation when you purchase, when you register for your tickets. Tickets are free, but as I say, there is an optional $10 donation which goes directly to the charity. So really excited. Please help spread this word, spread the word of this. If you've got a blog, if you've got a podcast, we'd love to connect with you. We'd love to talk about this and just expose what we're doing and why we're doing it and bringing it to the community. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And speaking of the charity, you may well be aware we have pivoted from WPN into Big Orange Heart. This happened some time ago now. Big Orange Heart is a registered charity that supports and promotes positive wellbeing and mental health within the remote working communities. And we deliver virtual events. One thing we just wanted to mention specifically about WPLDN. Given our current climate, given what's going on, we've made the decision that our events will remain virtual for, at the very minimum, the first 6 months of 2021. So please be aware that we will not be delivering in-person events for at least the first 6 months of 2021. But of course, we're building out our events platform and continually evolving, and really very excited to be able to actually share the next iteration of the events platform to you, the WPLDN community, which will ultimately deliver the WordFest through. So you're going to get some first eyes on it if you are part of the WPLDN community. We're also delivering a number of other events through the platform. And if you are an event organizer, if you are a meetup organizer, if you're a WordCamp organizer, if you are an event organizer and delivering, finding ways to deliver an event at this time can be challenging, we're actually offering up the Big Orange Heart events platform free of charge to events that want to deliver meet their community through our events platform. Really happy to announce, as I've announced before, we've got PHP London have joined us. We've also got PHP Leeds are now part of the team. And very happy to announce that DPIP, Digital People in Peterborough, have jumped on and joined us. So welcome to the Big Orange Heart family. But that's it for this bit. We're going to move swiftly on and introduce Mario. So Mario describes himself as he's very enthusiastic about open source philosophy and is currently a technical buff at WP Buffs. Can we just remove my slides? Oh, my mouse has stopped working in. Mario, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Mario.
Hi, Mario.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm very excited with this first experience, as Dan mentioned before. Talking outside of Americas. So ready to start, whatever you want.
Absolutely, yes. Yep. Mary, you're going to be giving a talk tonight. Does the perfect theme exist? Very much looking forward to this. And if you are watching this on live.bigorangeheart.org, or if you're out on social, do drop your questions in the live chat or in the comments over on social. Mario has agreed to do a live Q&A at the end of the session, so we'll be saving all the questions and we'll make sure we get them up on screen. So please, if you do have any questions throughout the talk, drop them in the chats. But for now, Mario, we're going to hand the stage over to you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Dan.
you very much.
Well, thank you for everyone to be here. As Dan mentioned, my name is Mario. I'm from Nicaragua, Central America, small country right here, but it's the cursor now. We are almost 7 million people living in the whole country. It's very hot here. Actually, right now, 39 Celsius. Very hot. But we are very kind person here. If anytime you can arrange a travel and invite to enjoy our beaches, our mountain and volcanoes, we have very exciting activities for outside. If you like to hike or something. Today, we were talking about if does the perfect team exist. As you know, not all the WordPress themes are created by the same or we have the same purpose. So choosing the perfect team could be the key for a successful project. As Dan already mentioned, I'm a former technical buff at wbpbuff.com. I have more than 25 years of IT experience. I remember to create my website, my first website in 1996, pure HTML using Netscape Composer. I don't know if you remember that name. Netscape, it's a company that had a very great browser that they don't exist anymore. They have an HTML builder, so I used it to create my first website in 1996, a lot of time ago. My whole experience, I was developing some different positions. Like IT officer, information security officer, web and graphical designer. I even was a teacher for learning, teaching computer skills to kids or youngers or in university. So I'm very enthusiastic about open source. If you let me choose in between Windows and Linux, I will choose Linux always choose Linux. Well, just a bit, a little reminder here. What is WordPress? As you know, WordPress is a content management system. It powers more than 35% of the whole website in the whole world. That is a lot of sites created with WordPress. And it's continuing to grow. Every day, more and more sites are being created using WordPress. And is today the more used platform in the whole world to create websites. Three main components of the WordPress platform are the core files, which is the code itself is written in PHP. The themes, what will define the layout, menu, and responsiveness, and the plugins, which will add additional features to the site. Why choose the right team is so important? Because he will control the site design, how the site looks, how the people will interact with the site. Most of this is controlled by the team. For every different project you start, no matter if your personal project or a project for another customer or for a client, you should be able to create memorable experience for visitors. The teams are usually related to specific uses like blogs or e-commerce stores, project portfolios, image galleries, personal curriculums, etc. You can choose between a free or a premium team. usually the premium themes will include support or another premium plugins that if you purchase them outside from the team, it will cost you more money than if deploying is inside the team or was packaged with the team. Before choose a team, I recommend the following steps. First of all, create a document with the content of the site. Don't choose a team without have a document with the content. No matter if you create this in a document, a notepad, or even in a write by hand in a notebook, but create a document with the content, with what content will be in your site, because it will help you to have an idea about how to build the menu, what page you will have in your site, what section you will have for every page. This will be very helpful to create the project. Another good recommended step is to create a mockup. No matter if you use a tool to create a mockup or even, again, draw in a paper. Select the functionality of the theme. If your site will be a corporate site, a blog site, an online store, you must define this before to choose the theme. Even to select the topic also. By example, if your site will be a corporate site, is this corporate lawyer firm, a construction or builders? They are builders, or they are I don't know. They are just renting offices, or could be a real estate site, or could be a hospital site. Please choose the topic for your site before to choose the theme. Define additional features also. If you will require a calendar, an event manager, Google Maps, the social options it's very common now that people add photos to Instagram insert in the site. So please write this as a requirement for your team. And last but not least important, you will have the budget to use a free or a premium site, or a premium theme. Sorry, you have the budget to purchase a premium theme, or if you will use a free theme. It is very important because the free themes are very useful, but could be more limited with the features or options that will bring to you. Most of the premium themes will provide these multi-purpose themes. So it will be very useful. Or as I mentioned before, this could include even premium plugins. Perhaps most of them are the additional features requirement that you have for your site. The selected theme must be responsive, customizable, easy to use, well-coded, well-documented, well-supported, secure, and optimized. What mean about responsive? The site should fit well in every display size. No matter which device are you using, this site should adjust automatically to fit right in the display screen. A responsive web design will automatically adjust for different screen size and viewports. So imagine you have your smartphone in portrait mode or landscape mode. The site must adjust automatically for it. The team has the responsibility for responsiveness. So always choose a responsive theme. The theme must also be customizable. You have no idea, or perhaps have no idea, that there are some very known or common themes. They are very hard to customize. Perhaps to change the logo, you have to hard code it in modifying a template or something to change just a simple image has no sense. So the team itself must provide specific areas to customize the layout and the look and feel, change the color, change the fonts, change images, use favicon, use a logo for small resolution or retina display. A very good team must provide all these features. Very important note, the design must be adjusted to match the content and the mockup previously created. So this is very important. This is the reason why it's important to create before the document and the mockup, because your team must fit with that, not in the other way. You should not choose the theme and then try to fill with content. This is not the right way to do. Imagine that you want to build a house. You don't say the people will build the house. Hey, build a house. No, he will ask you, hey, show me the plan. Same for the website. Create the mockup, create the document with the content, and this will be your plan to create the website. The select theme must be easy to use also. Common tasks like create or edit a page of post, use an image or change the logo or file icon must be easy to complete. Some things like starter themes could require to add or modify PHP code to complete some common tasks. There are some themes called starter that are very cool, very light, but will require very deep knowledge about PHP to modify it and adjust the theme to work as we want. For developers, they are a very good starting point, because the final project will be exactly the same as he designed it before. However, but for most of the users, the best is not a starter theme, because most of the users have no deep knowledge of PHP code. So choose a theme that is easy to use. Additionally, the theme must be well coded. WordPress have a guide or have a guidelines that define how the theme must be created. It will include what is the standard for theme development, what it will be the anatomy of the theme, the user child theme, how to be the style sheet of the theme. So our well-coded theme must follow these guidelines. Please don't use a theme that will not fit, or if the thing is not using this guideline, don't use it. Don't use that theme, because you will have a lot of issues working with the team. Actually, you could have some issues. You could have some issues later with plugins compatibility or something. Where is? Oops, here. The chosen team must be also well supported. Well supported should be check the time for the last update. The theme must have regular updates. Don't choose a team that have I don't know, more than 6 months without an update, because it's very there exists a very high possibility that team have a vulnerability that could be exploited because the developer is not regularly updating or checking the code. Check the compatibility with a recent version of the WordPress. Check if support is offered. Check what mode of support is offered. Maybe just email, a forum, or just live chat, or some of them could offer even telephone support. Check if the developer offers remote assistance, because you could need sometimes some type of remote assistance from the developer. Very important, check if your team is secure. What I mean for secure, a secure WordPress team is one that doesn't include any known security vulnerability. It is consistently updated, follows proper code standard, and is compatible with both your version of WordPress and your site other elements such as plugins. There is a WP scan service when you could find different vulnerabilities for different themes or even plugins. An example, let's check this very common theme, Divi. As you can see, all version before 4.5.2 have security vulnerabilities. This is a very common used theme, but how to say it is not so secure. So we can check other common themes, like, for example, Avara. Versions below 6.2.3 have security vulnerabilities, but the current version from Avara is 7.1, I guess, 7.1, I guess, yeah. And the last but not least important, the theme must be optimized. That means that the output code of the site, the output code must not load extensive DOM elements. Some common themes like Divi use a lot of div tags just to create something simple as unordered bullet. So just to create an unordered bullet, they use perhaps 3 or 4 levels of div, which will add a lot of DOM elements to the page, in the output code, will produce a slow site. You can even have you could have a bad score using GTmetrix or another code from the team that is optimized. If the team itself is not producing an optimized code, it will be hard to optimize the site. So choose a well-optimized team. Please keep in mind that an optimized site must load in less than 2 seconds. This is the rule that Google is promoting. Your site must load in less than 2 seconds to get a higher ranking. As I mentioned before, use a child theme is very important. A child theme is a small part of features from the parent team. In the parent team, they have all the main functions of the team. In the child, you will have the functions PHP file, perhaps the style for the team. Sorry. Any modification for style or functions must be done in the child team. So when you update the parent team, this modification you did in the child team will not be overridden by the update. So check before choose the team. Please check if it supports a child team. Our friend from Kingsta Hosting have a guide also to how to create a child team. But again, you will have a deep knowledge for PHP to create your own child team. The best is if the child team is included with the team itself. Actually. Oops, sorry. I close the tab.
Hi there. It seems like your screen stopped. Do you want to put it back on for you?
Yeah, just say close the.
That's right.
Yeah, here we
Okay.
go. Thank you. Okay. So if it's very important to use a child team. So there are too many things to consider before to choose a team. So how to choose the right one? What is the right one? Does the perfect team exist? Well, as I mentioned in backstage, it will depend of your project. There will not be a perfect team for all projects. There will be a perfect team for your specific project. How to choose it will depend of if you did your homework before to define all the selection criteria that you must have to choose the right thing. Another a good starting point to choose the right thing is to ask the experts. We in WP Buff, we have two amazing blog posts. One of them is 16 of the actual best simple WordPress themes for 2020. You will have there a list of 16 of the best simple WordPress themes. They mean simple because they have a specific topic will be there is they were created for a specific topic, so they are simple. They are not multi-purpose themes. And another amazing post is the 35th fastest WordPress theme of 2020. They are even tested with Pingdom, so you will have not only the name of the theme, you will have also the results of the Pingdom. So this will give you a very good starting point to choose what is the best thing for you. In my personal experience, my preferred themes, I use Avada. Most of my projects I use Avada because most of my projects are corporate websites. Actually, this presentation itself was created using Avada. It's not a presentation in a formal edition. It's not using PowerPoint or something. It's a web page. I can share the link also if you want after if you want to check the page again. Another great team is Genesis Framework, but Genesis is a starter team, but they have very great child teams. If you like builders, we can arrange another talk to speak about builders. But my recommendation is use Elementor. So you can choose Hello Elementor team or Flux, which is a multi-purpose team. Astra, which is another multi-purpose team, actually is the first team reported more than 1 million of websites created with it. So they have a lot of websites created with Astra. And if you are planning to create online shopping, my preferred ones are Goodmart or Flatzone. Where to find themes? Well, the best is you are planning to choose a free theme, use a WordPress repository. Or if you have the budget to use a premium theme, there is ThemeForest or StudioPress. StudioPress is the house of Genesis theme. You will find there Genesis and the child themes. Another warning, please never download a theme from an unofficial repository. Pay $60 or $70 for a theme will be the best idea instead of download the theme from, I don't know, a torrent site or something. And that's it. We have WordPress. We have I hope that this guide, that this talk will guide you or provide the best guide to select the right theme for your project. Yep.
Mario, thank you very much. It's such a, it can be quite a challenging topic, this, can't it? The themes that we use across our sites. I think it can be a little bit diversive, really, can't it? Because some people have quite a strong opinion in one direction, and others have a very strong opinion in another direction. And I appreciate you taking the time to come and share your thoughts and experience across this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think we're heading into some interesting times, aren't we, in relation to themes and the direction that we take with obviously the block editor taking the forms that it is, and are we seeing themes becoming a thing of the past potentially? We've obviously just seen Q release the first full site editor, so using a theme. So I think it'd be interesting to see where we go.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts across the block editor in relation to themes?
Well, in my experience, block editors is good. However, it is not. I have two daughters, one of 15 and one of 13 years. Both of her create their own websites. None of them likes blocks editor. They said they don't understand. And I have the same feeling that most of the users think that use the block editor is not the right decision. They will prefer a more friendly tool like a builder. This is what block editor was created with developers in mind, not final user in mind. If we want to use WordPress or extend the WordPress use for all of the type of users, so I think the customer will select always a builder instead of the block editor.
Yeah, it's interesting what's right for the situation. Looking at the tools that are appropriate for the circumstances, aren't they? And I think we're very fortunate in WordPress in that respect, in that we've got this a selection of tools. Some are right for a particular skill set, and others are right for another skill set. I think obviously it'll be quite interesting with JJ coming up shortly and her talk around unusual ways to use the block editor. I think it's going to be interesting. We've got these tools, as you've spoken about, like the likes of Elementor, for example, that enable some people to be able to build out very advanced very advanced sites using tools such as that, and then others using going more native using React and getting much more into the kind of that side of the project as opposed to the front end editing.
Yeah. I don't want to discard the job done with block editor. I know the developers loves the block editor because they could integrate a lot of technologies in working with blocks. I have some friends that love block editor because they think in code. You know, they see a website and see the code, don't see the website. So they love the code editor because this gives you the choice to integrate a lot of things. So and they produce and they create amazing websites. Very with a lot of features, very interactive. But it will require a lot of job also.
Sure. There's always this interesting discussion around the functionality side. You know, at what point does functionality belong in a plugin? And all functionality should belong in a plugin. And that line is getting very, very blurred, particularly with block editor and some of the other tools that we have access to at the moment.
I mean, I tend to put all my blocks in plugins. Oh, sorry, Leo, you're muted.
I am. I actually said go Diane, so there you go.
All my blocks go in plugins because it was drummed into me, and when I was on theme review team, functionality goes in the plugin, and if it's presentational, it goes in the theme. And I do think that, especially now with the block editor, I think more than ever, the theme has to be about the style, the presentation. But yeah, it's. I mean, I found it really interesting, Mario, that you said that developers love the. I'm one of the few developers I know that actually quite like the block, like working with the block editor. Loads of developers I know, like most of them are PHP developers, and there were howls of anguish when the block editor came in. But after JJ's talk, people might be like really excited.
or confused. That's the problem with the JJ talk. But we'll get there in a minute. We can see her below. We can see her below.
Yes,
I think Mario, there was another question that came in really quickly before you disappear, which is just what you thought the themes matter. And I don't know if you've got exposure yourself to the serverless flat sites or static. If you have any experience in that area.
Flat site or static? Sorry, Robert, I don't get it, the question.
Okay,
don't worry. Flat site?
So I think he's referring to the headless concept within WordPress, and how do we the use of themes within a headless WordPress environment. And I think it's a really interesting discussion, that one, because it is very much changing how we use WordPress once we start going down that route of headless. And certainly for example, the Big Orange Heart site, bigorangeheart.org, is a headless instance. It's actually hosted through Static. So we've got that, we have that headless approach, and yet we're actually using Elementor as a theme within it. So Static have done some really interesting stuff there that have enabled the use of themes out of the box, and then be able to deliver a headless WordPress, or a static WordPress, should I say?
Yeah, I think the best is to choose the theme that will be, or not a theme, the solution that will provide the most clean code, because the most clean code will provide you, will allow the website to load faster, to have a better score, to get a better ranking, to improve SEO. So I think it's very interesting, but and I will choose the one that will provide the most clean output.
I think one thing that's the conversation that's actually happened in the live chat, and we'd be remiss not to mention it across this in terms of theme options, theme choices, is in relation to accessibility and ensuring, obviously, our selection if we're going for an off-the-shelf theme. If we're using something out of the box, we want to make sure that the theme is accessible. We've actually shared in the live chat there the tag, accessible ready, is a tag that is available within the WordPress theme repository. So I do highly recommend, if you're looking for a theme within the repository, ensure that that theme is an accessible theme. There are many reasons to ensure that your site is available to as many individuals as possible.
Yeah, Graham have another comment there. Yeah, accessibility is still a very slow work in progress. You know, a very important thing when you have accessibility in mind is do not use sliders, by example. And you see a lot of websites using sliders, but almost for everything. Now you see sliders even for image galleries. So what is the problem with this is the accessibility plugins cannot read the tags from the sliders. So the image must be inserted in the page as images to allow the accessibility plugin to read the image. If you use a slider, you will kill completely the accessibility plugin. So I agree with you. Accessibility will be a must in the website. We will design the website thinking in accessibility and allowing the people to can visit and use our site. So we have a customer. I remember a customer that he is blind and he created the website, and it's very interesting to work with him because he knows a lot, and he is constantly talking about guidelines about what to take in mind thinking in accessibility, and I love to work with him because of this.
Well, Mario, I think that's a great place to wrap this up. I really appreciate you coming, giving your time, and sharing your experience and knowledge with us, the WPLDN community. So thank you very much. We are going to continue, if you're able to. We do have our social that's going to be running after this in our live.bigorangeheart.org site. Of course, you're more than welcome to come and join us, and we will continue some conversations in relation to themes. Excellent. Okay, so we are now going to invite JJ up on screen. So JJ, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm very good, thank you.
Hi, Leo.
Always a pleasure. Always a joy to have you join us. Thank you very much for being with us. I think this might be the first time in the virtual space that we've come together, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my first virtual talk. So.
Oh, is it your first? Ooh.
For us.
Yeah,
you moonlight. You also, I'm sure you did it. Haven't you done a talk for the other London one?
the other London one.
Yes.
Is there a terrible rivalry that I didn't know about?
No, I did not know that. I was not aware there was a terrible rivalry. No
rivalry.
Do you mean WP Hooked, which is developer-focused talk?
The other event.
Exactly.
The event whose name we will not mention.
It's not that bad.
We're off to a swimmingly good start here, aren't we?
Aren't we just?
That's about the only bit of the conversation I can get involved in, because JJ's going to go into some technical stuff that I'm just going to go and stare.
So JJ, thank you. We're going to be having some fun and games with the WordPress editor tonight.
Fun and games at my expense with the WordPress editor.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, JJ, what we're going to share. We're going to bring up your slides now, and we are all going to step off and hand the stage over to you. Just to remind everybody, if you are watching this on live.bigorangeheart.org, please do, if you have any questions, then please do drop them in the live chat. JJ again has kindly offered to do a live Q&A at the end of a session, so please do use that. If you're out on social, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever they are, please do drop them in the comments, and we will make sure that your questions are on screen afterwards. But for now, JJ, over to you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Dan. I'm going to be talking about fun and games with a new WordPress editor tonight. And I think the title is a little hyperbolic, so I apologize in advance if this is not all fun and games, but it's about adding a reactive block to the front end in WordPress. So using skills that you've developed for developing for the block editor and taking those blocks and making them into mini apps for the front end. And this is the approach I've taken for my first one. And this is a web app I've made. We're all on our computers here. So you can go to porchy.co.uk and click on the first post and ignore all the words around it because it's something different. And fill in the blanks and then click your poem to see what happens. I have to admit that Porchy is not a WordPress front end. It's a Gatsby front end. But it is the one that I have styled. And my WordPress backend is too embarrassing to put on the first screen. So this talk is about adding reactive interactive blocks to the front end. On the WordPress front end, you can see it at thistlesandfigs.com. And again, I'm really sorry, it's completely unstyled on a default theme from a couple of years ago. And the repo for everything I'm talking about tonight is here. On github.com/darcyblows/MJJ to say. So who I am, I'm JJ. I am a contract web developer. I am currently working as a lead developer for an online program which has a number of web apps. It has a meal planner, health tracker, various quizzes, a lot of user interactivity and personalization. The apps are mainly in Vue and have a bit of older React in them in places. And the whole point of this talk is not actually just to confuse Leo. It is to convince you to try developing for the new editor. And not just to try developing for the new editor, but to try developing for the new editor with React so that you can add little apps to the front end too. So sort of a sidestep here, Mad Libs, these little apps that I've made are Mad Libs. Wikipedia says that Mad Libs are a phrasal template word game, which consists of one player prompting others for a list of words to substitute for blanks in a story before reading aloud, which sounds really, really complicated for a game we used to play when I was like 6. You'd write a story, you'd cross out some words, give your friend a list of blanks and kind of a prompt, and then insert those words back into the story. It always ended up kind of goofy and kind of funny. It was something to do. And this is the Mad Lib block. This is one I filled out. So these are the inputs I've put in. If you click your poem, you come up with your Mad Lib poem. Mine is, I have crashed the chairs that were in the microwave, in which you were definitely singing for dinner. Smell me, they were blue, so happy, and so non-committal. Then you can click and see the real poem, which is, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. And that is the poem, This Is Just to Say, by Carlos Williams. So there's a second one on that page, and I'm going to use that to show you the back end because it's shorter and it will fit onto my screen. So this is another fill in the blanks. But what does the block in the editor look like? When you insert it, you get, and focus on it, you get a content template that you can fill out that makes these fields in these labels. And then you have an attribution block. You can show the front end inputs. If you show the lib with descriptions, it gives you a bit more context and a different way to see it. Or you can show the default lib, which is keep calm and carry on for this one. So the new editor allows you to add interactivity to both the editor and hopefully the front end, which is great and helpful. And it's a little bit easier to manipulate than meta boxes. I mean, Not necessarily for everyone, as we've said, but a lot of people find it easier. I've had clients who like the editor a lot. And so what is the issue? But as a developer, the development is completely different than what we're used to, or what we were used to about a year or two ago. As Diane said, it's gone from being PHP and a little bit of jQuery, you know, in these when you're extending the editor and extending what people can do, to things like whole new libraries. So it's more React based now. Your jQuery knowledge feels kind of useless to me. I like jQuery. I like React, but I miss jQuery now. There's new build tools. We're not using Grunt or Gulp anymore as task runners. We have Webpack, which is powerful, but is really complicated. It can do just about anything, but you have to tell it what to do. And we have new JavaScript. I mean, there's like new JavaScript that we're using to add to the confusion. We're not only going from PHP to JavaScript, we're going from PHP to new JavaScript that is different than the JavaScript we were using before. Things are different, and it feels overwhelming. A couple of years ago, there was the exhortation from Matt Mullenweg to learn JavaScript deeply. And this is at the beginning of the editor development, you know, within core. And just the idea of learning something deeply just to make silly little things is a bit overwhelming to me. So I thought, do I really need to? Do I really need to learn JavaScript deeply? You know, or can I just do it like I've, you know, learned PHP and gotten on with it and learned what I needed to know and then built on that? Well, I don't think you do need to learn it deeply. You have packages, you have libraries, you have frameworks, which seem confusing and which are confusing at first, but exist to make my life easier. I need to know enough. I need to know enough how to use them, but I don't need to know everything about them. There are countless amounts of code that somebody else has already written to help me do the things I want to do. I can build upon what other people have done. So here's a note on copy pasta. And copy pasta is when you copy someone's code and it just makes a complete mess. Homemade pasta can be even messier. And please don't think about that for too long because it doesn't actually make sense. I think it just kind of sounds good. But what I mean is that even if I've copied and pasted someone's code and it doesn't make sense and it's all confusing, I couldn't have written it myself. I would have made a worse mess. I would be, you know, I would have to just scrap it and go again. Oh, right, there are 27 slides in and you have not talked about developing the app. Okay, sorry, here we go. I just wanted to acknowledge that. Okay, so what do I want to do? I have the app, right? I want to make the app, but what exactly do I want to do? I want to render a React app into an HTML element in the content on the front end using the block attributes as the app props. Fairly the long sentence, but that's exactly what I want to do. So how do I want to do it? I want to build the editor block. I want to build the front end bundle and include all this in WordPress, which I've just realized I forgot, and make an element for each instance of the block in the content with the block attributes as the HTML tag attributes, so I can pick them up later. This is to say, this is what I want to do. I want to make a div with a class that I know, and then I want to put the block elements in the data element, in the data attribute of the div. When I make my JavaScript, the app will go here, and it will pick up these attributes. Okay, so that's exactly what I want to do. Where should I start? Well, what do I already know how to do? I'm going to start with that. I know NPM. I nearly forgot to include this because it's one of those things that's kind of invisible kind of assumed knowledge that trips people up, and certainly tripped me up at the beginning when I was starting to learn all this stuff. What I do know is I can use block scaffolds for editor blocks. And block scaffolds are scripts that you run that pop up, kind of a pre-made plugin with everything working, and you just, you know, kind of put your stuff in it and then run it and it works. I found one that makes sense to me and I used it. It was WP Block Builder, and I used it this time, and I'll keep trying out others. This is what it looked like. It's a node package and it's in NPM. And this is what I was talking about when I said that I nearly forgot about NPM. It's very easy to use if you can use it. So if you run npx WP Block Builder, it will make a plugin for you that's ready to go. But you have to have everything installed correctly. Sometimes with that, the gulf of getting started with the invisible maelstrom of assumed knowledge. So that's to say, you can really easily make a plugin that builds blocks that works when you run this command. That's assuming you can run that command because you've set it up already. So sometimes this is the stopping point, and a lot of times I hear people say, well, it's really, really easy to do, you know, but it's not. And so if you get stuck here, it's okay. You'll get through it, and it's hard. Anyway, back to block scaffolds. Here are some block scaffolds. Create Gutenblock, it's kind of an oldie but a goodie. Web Dev Studios has one. WordPress just came out with theirs a couple of months ago, and there's going to be more that come out over time, I'm sure, because people are still updating them and figuring out what works for everybody. What else do I know? I know how to use filters to edit the block content output. I am going to hijack render block and put out my div. So when I hijack render block, I want to end up with this. And this is one time where commenting code makes it more confusing because there's too many comments to show it effectively. But all I'm doing is adding a filter on render block, and the function attached to that returns that div with the classes and the attributes picked up from the block. I know how to make small React apps. I'm not a React genius at all because, I mean, I don't learn things deeply, but I can make things. Oh, and a true confession, I've only been learning enough React to get done what I want to do, but I did buy an in-depth course on Tuesday because I find it really fun. Chances are slim that I'm actually going to do the course, but I did buy it. I know how to include React apps in the front end. You make a div and find it with JavaScript and then render the app. So that div we created with render in render block, filtering that, we're going to find it, and then the JavaScript is going to fill it with our app. So when it came down to it, I had a pretty firm base, right? I did all those steps. I made the block scaffold, I filtered it, I went through all of that. And then I had to figure out the bits that I didn't know, which were how to extend WP Scripts Webpack config to build another bundle for the front end, and how to include React on the front end. So WP Scripts is a package of scripts that a lot of these block scaffolds use, and it sets up Webpack and some other stuff that I don't really understand, but that's what it's there for, so you don't really have to understand it. You can just use it. And I needed to make sure I could make another bundle of JavaScript for the front end that would actually create my app. It turns out it was fairly straightforward. I could import the config and then override it or add to it using the spread operator. There's even an actual example in the developer handbook on how to do this. This is the default config for Webpack. and you export most of it, adding in what you want to. The thing about Webpack that I find is understanding is overrated and what counts is making it work. So I can't really tell you everything that's going on here, but I can make it work. So what I didn't know also was how to create another output bundle in Webpack. And a top tip here is when you find the answer to your question that you know you're going to have again, to add it as a comment to your code so you can always go back to it. It turns out you can put the original config in an object, in a variable, and then make your new front-end config in another object with a new entry point in a new output file. And the entry point looks something like this. It does what we just said we were going to do. We get all the elements that should contain our app, then we iterate over them, parse the attribute string that we put in there, and then render our app with those attributes as props. And then we export the configs in an array. And that's it. You make as many as you want and you export them in the array and they run. I also didn't know how to include React on the front end. And it turns out that it's unqueuable as a dependency. I'm not quite sure that unqueuable is a word, but I think you get the gist. What I mean is that you can unqueue the script, unqueue your own script, and set React and React DOM as dependencies. But wait, and if you'll notice, like the bottom went back to Webpack, so we're back in Webpack confusion. What about Webpack? It shouldn't bundle React, right? If we're including it on the front end, and then we have it in our bundle, then we have like 2 instances of React, and what if someone else has React too? Like, how does that work? Well, we can tell Webpack to only bundle it up if we're developing, and that if it's a production build, we'll find it elsewhere. And that's what this does. It says, if the mode is production, then we will get React and React DOM externally. You don't have to deal with it. You don't have to put it in the bundle you're giving us. We're going to find it ourselves, so don't worry about it. But if it's not production, yeah, please put it in. And oddly enough, that's it. Once I had done that, the app was done. And I know this was kind of a whistle-stop tour of how to get your backend block to the front end. And I fully appreciate it might not have made sense to you or anyone, and I apologize for that. But hopefully it helps someone, and hopefully it made you feel that you could do this, you know? Like, if you get a block scaffold set up and you make a block, you can put that block on the front end. It's, you know, it's something that you can do. So this is the process. Like, looking back, this is exactly what I did. I built the backend block starting from a block scaffold. I built the front end app doing copious amounts of copying and pasting from number 1. So that front index, that went into the front end block. I filtered the content via render block to add a div with the block attributes. I updated Webpack to make a front end bundle, which conditionally includes React. And as you saw, I hope that is less complicated than it sounds. Then I enqueued the built front end script the usual way with React and React DOMs as dependencies. I made sure it worked, and I hope it worked for you. It might not if you are on Internet Explorer. And then I wrote the talk. And that is the end. Well, that is not quite the end. I have one more slide, and it's my favorite cartoon. And it is something that I think about often. And that's it. Oh, I'm done. I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do now.
JJ, thank you so much. It is always such a pleasure to hear you talk. I really appreciate everything that you give us as a speaker.
Oh dear, I don't know why that sounds.
Etymology of words, pages full of coloured and scribbly text, everything. You can't ask for more, can you?
That's also my favourite cartoon as well, JJ. I know you've seen. I know you've
I
seen me
love
share
it.
it before.
I love it so much.
I think this is probably, it's got to be quote of the night, hasn't it? Understanding those.
But I mean, it's true. It's true. Like, you just have to, like, do you understand exactly how your car works?
No.
Like,
I mean,
no.
does anybody understand how we're doing this? You know,
Yeah.
Are you actually all real? Are you just all little people in this television? If I look at the back, can I just see that you're actually all there anyway? So.
Yeah, I think like sometimes you get so deep in the weeds of understanding like each bit of how everything goes that it just becomes impossible. And you know, in life you don't actually do that. Like, how does my light work? I know how my light works, but like in general, you know.
Yeah, I have a friend that whose excuse for not learning Gutenberg was, oh, first of all, I want to learn ES6, and I said, well, you know, you can code actually in ES5, and then he was like, but what I want to do is learn JavaScript deeply. I've got this like book. He had a paper book as well, which I thought was weird. And I was like, do you know what? You could sit there and you can read a book, and then by the time you come to the end, you've forgotten what you read at the beginning. I honestly think that you just have to get into the code, just start coding. And he's going, yeah, but then I won't know what I'm doing. And I was like, but you will by the end.
I know, exactly.
If anything,
yeah, I think.
This absolutely at the moment in time is we're learning that, you know, you just have to take the leap into these things. And, you know, I find it really fascinating with the stuff that you were covering there, JJ. And then you look at some of the other stuff like the web stories for WordPress, the stuff that Google's come out, and there's another plugin that's come out that's doing that. And some people are going, but I don't understand it. It's not a news. That's not a news story. That isn't how things work. And you're going, but you don't have to understand it. It's happening. If someone can explain to you why TikTok is.
God, I wish somebody would explain that to me.
That's it. You don't need to know. You don't need to understand. It's like you just, if you don't. Yeah, that's it. You don't need to. And we need to. You know, sometimes we have to adopt and take on those leaps of faith in the technology. And I think that's the fascinating thing. I think we've had two complete extremes of the end of WordPress today, and that shows the power of WordPress. Is that it sits in the middle of all of these elements and the way that things come together, and it isn't just like, oh well, you have to do it this way and you have to use it for that. It's not that. That's not what it's about. It's about saying we don't know what you're going to use it for. We really don't know.
That's right. We JJ, we had a bit of a conversation around ACF and the use of ACF for the creation of blocks, and it kind of coming back a bit there, probably sitting in the middle of the two conversations that the two sessions that we've had here. And I know you were instantly cringing there, JJ, talking about ACF for blocks, and it is, you know, how do you take that next step where because it can be incredibly confusing. And there is so much out there that I think it was interesting listening to you say you purchased a course and you may not actually consume it.
Yeah. It was in a fit of procrastination on Tuesday, and also it was on sale, so you know.
But I think that how do we take those next steps? I think is
you just build something. You build something.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the only way to learn is by doing.
Absolutely, and I guarantee there were a lot of people sitting there looking at the code. There was people who were understanding that code. There were people like me that were going, "Wow, that's interesting," and there were at least 3 people watching who was trying to find a fault in the code so they could tell you in the chat afterwards.
Oh, I found a fault in the code. I took one out.
That's it. But that's the beauty of the community we're in, and the beauty of being able to have somebody like you who comes in and just blows us away with how you're just going, this is it. And just sometimes just not, you know, we're all on this Johnny, and this is a great thing. Here it is. Make it do it. This is a real live demo of it working, and that's
right.
great. It's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah,
I also did my I did the poems, and before I knew what the poem was, I put words in, and my poem was really weird.
It's not a surprise, is it really?
I think this idea of just build it, try it, try and work. It's really interesting because actually everybody that's actually sitting on live.bigorangeheart.org that has gone into the social and has moved around on those tables, that's exactly what I've done. I've taken Vue as a as a technology, and I said, what can I build? What can I do? And I had no clue. And there's a lot of bad code in there. There's a lot of stuff. Horrible.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah. And that's you have to be able to accept that. It's hard.
There's a really famous proverb which is, man plans and God laughs, and that has been updated today. It's like God laughs even more when you rename a file final.
Final version 2.5.
But that's the reality. The point is saying is we never deliver anything that is absolutely the final. That's it. Draw a line. It'll never be done again.
That's right.
And as you're saying, Dan, you're building and moving, and we're on platforms. We're using these tools. It's really great to be able to sit there. As you said, JJ, a lot of people heard, well, we've got to be learning Java and moving over to that and doing this, that, and the other. And they're like, do I really want to play that game?
What I heard was I need to find someone to do that for me. That's what I heard.
Exactly.
Do you know what your next endeavor would be in relation to this, in relation to blocks, and the next, where would you take it? Do you have an idea of where you plan to take it?
No, I was just playing around with it, really. I was just making something. I figured out there's like a code, there's like a little interactive code block on my Gatsby blog. And I thought, well, that's not a very good example of this idea. And actually the way it started was I wanted to port interactive blocks to React elements that were apps to Gatsby. So, but then since this is WordPress, I thought that would be a little bit complicated. So I'll just do the WordPress version.
Is that aimed at me?
No, that was actually what I thought, and I was just surprised.
I think I'm going to have to separate Leo and JJ for some reason.
Right. It's just that if you also have Jenny in the room, then I'm just like, you can just put him in the corner and leave him alone. That's it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's great.
Would you? So it was interesting actually. Listen, you were talking about you've gone down the route of Vue as an option, as a framework that you're using.
I've done a ton in Vue. Yeah.
Any particular reason for Vue over React?
No. Well, I started like right now. At this point in time, it's historical that I'm using Vue because that's what they were developed in. That's what I used to develop them initially, and now I'm building upon those apps. I don't know why I used Vue. I think it was an easier to get started with. So I built one thing in Vue, and I thought, okay, I can use it for these more complicated things, and then use that.
Excellent.
Yeah, there was no real reason. And the thing is that one of the things I like about Vue and React is they get along. Like the leads, they get along together, and they're like, oh yeah, React's great if you're in Vue, and oh yeah, Vue's great if you're in React. So
one thing I do like about Vue, which I'm kind of quite sad, Vue is open source. So I was quite sad that that it wasn't Vue that went into core, but
yeah.
Yeah, please don't look too deeply at my Vue.
Oh, mine. There's some. I go back, and because some of this is like a couple of years old. It's like, oh, that's just so bad.
But I think that's the classic, isn't it? People always do that. They they look at this code and they unearth it. They go, look how terrible it is. Who wrote it? Oh, I did.
Yes.
Well, that's
Do you-
because, but that's good.
It's
That means you're getting
experience.
better.
Do
That means
you
you're
when
getting
you're
better.
when you're doing your slides and you're putting all your code in your slides, do you then go and modify your code? Like, because a lot of the time
I
I've
did.
corrected my code in the slides and I'm like, oh, I better actually correct it.
There's a reason.
Well, I was
there's actually
like-
a reason for that. There's actually a logical reason. When you actually view something on a completely different environment and platform, you see it in a different light. That's why they always recommend you print things out. If you're doing something, print it out, because you're almost looking at it as fresh, and otherwise you're seeing the same things. And it's a really interesting technique if you're ever doing stuff, is to view and take your code and put it on another platform. You see it completely differently.
I think what gets me with my learning cycle, my learning process, is I start Googling for something and then find the question that I had asked on another platform somewhere else. I realized
I think it's even more scary now with Google, when you're sitting there and you're starting to write. You haven't actually written enough of a question, but it's still gone. I know what the problem is, Dan. I'm going to tell you before you even got to the end of it.
I find that reassuring. Like, okay, other people have had this issue too. So
yes,
it's not just me.
Yeah, it is. I think it is a very real issue, isn't it? Across I think particularly across the development space. It's we know how to Google for the answers, and we know how to look for ask the right question, so to speak, and ending up in
syntax of the questioning is what
that's right.
Yeah,
right.
It's very clever. We do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
JJ, I appreciate we've had a completely random discussion here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was a completely random talk.
It was good.
There's so much.
Both have been, just as I said earlier, the extremities that we covered tonight have been fascinating for people. I hope for people watching, that that we've gone from one extreme to another, and how where we're going and where we've been and where we're going is critical on WordPress.
Absolutely.
And I think that, like you said, the nice thing about WordPress is that you can use it the way that suits you. It kind of goes back to what Mario was saying, different tools for different things. And I really like the fact that we have the flexibility, if we're willing to push it, we have the flexibility to, kind of use WordPress the way we want to, rather than, kind of like sticking to the way that it was meant to be used. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I guess that's the beauty of open source, isn't it? I mean, that's we can take a piece of code and we can do something else with that piece of code, with that framework, if you like.
Yeah.
I really am incredibly grateful, JJ, for you giving your time this evening. I took so much out of that talk, and I will certainly be taking the time to go back and look and watch that talk again. So thank you. Really appreciate having you here with us this evening, and equally appreciate having Mario with us, giving his time as well. So just want to say a big thank you. We're going to wrap up now, and if you're able to, we're going to move over to our social space and continue the conversations over there. I'm just going to bring up my slides very quickly.
I have one bit of news very quickly that I think is important.
Yes.
Breaking news.
Well,
Yes.
No, it's not breaking.
Breaking news from Leah.
Came out about a week and a half ago, or I saw it about a week and a half ago. Was the fact that Google will be dropping non-mobile websites as of March next year. So if you have customers or you have sites which are non-mobile, that will be the end of them appearing in Google as of next March. So not long, but it was always overdue.
It was originally September, wasn't it? But they delayed it till March, I think, didn't they?
But it's an interesting thing to sort of sit there and say that site, that it's time for it to go.
Yes, yeah, it's interesting. And another piece of news. Forgive me, I'm not sure if this has been shared. Robert's news in relation to the state of the word, has that been shared this evening?
No,
I'm not used to not pressing buttons, so I'm not sure what we have and hadn't.
No, I don't think that was on there. But there you go.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so we've got there we go, thank you. Yeah, so obviously some confirmation there around the state of the word coming for 2021 in a virtual format. So just wanted to make sure that's shared as well.
Robert actually did write a load of more words, but it locks us at 200, so
that's right.
That's all I could fit in.
Yes, that's right. Excellent. Okay, so let's just quickly wrap up and let us get into the social. Oh, sorry, I'm pressing buttons all over the place here. I just, again, please do help us thanking our sponsors. If you haven't already this evening, I would really appreciate if you could hit big.ht/thanks. That will put together a tweet that will send out a tweet to all of our sponsors just to thank them for their support of Big Orange Heart, which in turn enables us to be able to deliver WPLDN and numerous other events, both through this platform and elsewhere. We're continually looking for your feedback. If you are on live.bigorangeheart.org, up the top on the menu, you've got an option there for feedback. We would love to hear from you. If you are out on social, big.ht/feedback. Really short. Is it anonymous? I'm sorry, I can't remember if we set this to anonymous. I hope we have, but we just want to ensure that what we're doing across these events is fit for you and making sure that we are delivering something that fits the needs of you, the community. So we would love to hear from you. Our next event will be WPLDN Daytime. So that's going to come up on the 12th of November. So this is a shortened down, a trimmed down version of what we've experienced this evening. I think most of you are saying, thank goodness for that. Let's waffle and let's get straight to the point. But that's going to happen 12th of November at 1 p.m. UTC or GMT. The next and final WPLDN of 2020 is going to happen the 26th of November. So that's the last full waffle version of
full waffle version.
We would love to have you join us if you can stand it, if you can cope.
Dare I say it will be in Christmas mode by then?
Yes. Yeah, then we may go into 2 or 3 hours of waffle as opposed to the hour that you've had this evening. Thank you all so much. We're now going to head over to the social. If you're within live.bigorangeheart.org, hit the link at the top of the page, social. In there, you can spin up your own table. You can join others. Feel free to move about. Don't feel that you have to all sit on one massive, great big table. The idea here is you can actually move about, have your conversations, and we're trying to replicate some semblance of an in-person event by having these virtual tables. So please do feel free to use the space as you wish. Finally, I would really appreciate it if you could either visit this link or share this link, big.ht/give. As a registered charity, we do rely heavily on donations from the community. $10, £10, €10 a month makes an enormous difference. So if you have the ability, as I said, please, we would really appreciate any donations, or simply share this link and please share this message. We offer free wellbeing and mental health support within the remote working community. So we would really appreciate it if you could share that. I think we probably, do we do a wave, or what do we do here? Do we wrap up?
I think wave sounds good.
I think a wave.
You passed the water bottle, but that failed a long time ago.
Should we do let's put another video up, shall we? What do we do? WordPress? Yeah, let's have a bit of WordPress. Thank you all so much.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye.